Are you recording?
Yeah.
Great. All right. So welcome to today's lesson. This lesson is going to be about the most common mistakes that I see players make, and how to avoid them, and what to do instead. And I'm not talking about top players, obviously. But I'm talking about good players and beginners and everything in between. Not the very top players, but everyone like below that. Now, first of all, I want to say that everyone makes mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. Even the top players make mistakes on a regular basis. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about bad habits, like mistakes that you keep making. If you keep making the same mistake over and over again, then you need to fix it. You know, I'm not talking about playing completely mistake-free foosball. That's over-ambitious. Just getting rid of the bad habits. You know. And secondly, I want to say that like we all play foosball for fun, right? Because if you're here to make a living from playing foosball, that I would suggest try something else, because that's gonna be very, very hard. So we're all here just basically to have fun, you know. And for me, part of the fun is to try to win and to try to become a better player and try to be as good a player as I can be. And maybe for you the fun is in something else, you know, so then you don't have to take all of my advice. My advice is coming from this place of, you know, trying to become as good a player as possible, you know. So I'm just gonna list some bad habits that are very common, and I'm gonna tell you how to fix it. So the first one that I see that is very common is catching the ball, catching your passes in a wrong way, like this. You know, where you kind of catch it like that, like this. The reason that's wrong is the faster your pass is, the harder that is to do. The other reason it's wrong is it basically only works on Bonzini to catch the ball like that, because it's kind of sticky. On all the other tables, you'll kind of just shoot it away if you knock onto the ball like that, you know. So I suggest that you, when the ball hits your guy, you actually follow the direction of the ball, you know. So you take the speed off it instead of just trying to stop it by knocking onto it. You see what I did there? That's what I would suggest. Because if you do like this, I can't even do it because I never really practiced that, because I learned very early on that it's wrong. If you do like that, like this, then there's really a limit to how fast your pass can be, and you still catch it. But if you do it the other way, the way I suggested, then you know you can catch very fast passes without problems. And the same goes for loose balls. You know, sometimes if the ball comes from this direction, then of course when the ball hits a guy, you move it backwards. You know, same goes for loose balls and your partner's passes or whatever you're trying to catch. You should do that motion instead of this kind of thing. You know. So that is probably the most common mistake that I see. Now, the second most common mistake that I see is not showing up to my training sessions, because there are only 3 people here. So, I hope you're watching on YouTube, but I mean, it's better if you show up, then you can ask questions and stuff like that. And now, let's get serious. Let's move on to some real mistakes. So, something else I see a lot is like when people play 2 to the 3 in singles. That's a good system, you know. You can have the ball here on your left hand, you hold the 3 rod on your right hand, and you can pass to the 3 rod, or you can shoot on goal with your left hand, right? Now, I'm not very good at playing like this. I've never really done it, but I know a little bit about it, and I'm gonna tell you what a lot of people do wrong. So, can anybody tell me if let me just warm up my hand a little bit because I was just out in the cold. If I do something like that, can anybody tell me what the mistake is, other than the fact that I missed the shot? I'm not talking about the execution of the shot. Can any of you guys recognize the mistake? Also, if I pass it like this, that I also made the same mistake there. Now, even though I scored, I still made the same mistake. Can anybody tell me what it is?
I'm routine enough. I don't know what the mistake is. I'm probably doing it myself.
The mistake is, as soon as I let go of the ball, I gotta get my left hand up here. Very quickly. That's part of the execution. Like, otherwise you're just completely open. And if the opponent blocks you, you're kind of screwed, you know? So, that's how you should do it. I still mis-executed the shot. It was supposed to go into the goal. But the point is, I should get my hand to the 5 bar as fast as possible. Also if I pass the ball, I wish I had practiced this style a little more, so I could show you better. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I let go of the ball, I gotta get up here with the 5 bar, you know? Now, I haven't practiced this style, so I'm mis-executing all sorts of stuff. Of course, that's also mistakes. Of course it is. That's just a matter of practice. But I think a lot of people play like this, and they have practiced it, and they execute their shots, they execute their passes, they do it great, better than I do, but they forget to get their left hand up here fast. So every time it gets blocked by the 5 bar, it just lands on the 3 bar, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that's a bad habit that you need to fix, you know. So that's also a common one. Another common one I see is goalies playing like this. You know, just kind of not really shooting a specific shot, but just trying to get it up the table, shoot at an angle onto the bank so that it's hard to block, you know, like something like that. And then you hope to just clear the ball or something. I don't know, you know. The point is, you can set up the ball here, or you can set up the ball here, or you can set up the ball here for a pull shot, or you can set up the ball here for a push shot. And if you're a Bonzini player, you should do one of those 4 and nothing else, you know? If you play German tables, like Leonhard, oops, I already went over this in my goalie course. If you play German tables, you can set up the ball like here and shoot bank shots. That's also legit. Don't do that on Bonzini. But the point is, pick a style and stick with it. Now, I understand this. If I shoot the ball up the table like that, it's hard to predict the angle, it's hard to block, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'll win this match doing that. Okay, yeah, I get that. But you'll never win a tournament against strong players doing that. I guarantee it. It's not going to happen. Now, some players that I've seen practice they are practicing a real shot. They're practicing a real style. Like, for example, this style, the poolside style. Maybe they're practicing that, but in matches they still play the other way that I just showed you before, because their real shot is not good enough yet or something, and they want to win this match. Now the thing is, if you don't play the style that you are practicing in matches, it will never be good enough for a match. That's the thing. You can't just practice it on your own and expect it to suddenly be good enough. You need resistance, you know. So okay, maybe you lose some matches that you would otherwise have won, but in time you'll be a better player because you'll have a real shot. So that brings me to understanding the learning curve. When you learn something new about foosball, let's say you are at this level now. When you learn something new about foosball, you know, it would be nice if you just got to this level immediately, right? Or if you, over time, just climbed and the level slowly got higher, that will also be nice. But that's not the case. If you're at this level and you learn something new and you start using it in matches, your level will drop because you're doing something new that you haven't practiced a lot yet. And then maybe after a year of doing it or something, then you'll be much better than you were before. So that's the learning curve, okay? So you don't want to have this attitude of I need to win this match, so I'm just gonna do what I'm used to doing. Well, okay, but then in a year you'll still be at the same level because you're still doing what you're used to doing in every match in order to win it. You know what I mean? Is it clear?
Yes.
So if you have an ambition of a style you want to play, use it in matches, even though it's not the best yet, even though it's not your best option yet. In a year or so, if you stick with the style, it'll be better than what you started out with. Okay? Because maybe you've been playing foosball for 5 or 10 years in a certain way, then you learn something new, and after 10 minutes you decide, it's not as good as what I was already doing. Yeah, that's because you had 10 years of practice doing that, and you had 10 minutes of practice doing the other thing. Like, give it a year or something if you believe it could be a good style, and keep doing it. Also in matches. Okay, so the point is, don't just play like some unambitious style in order to win some match that because I mean you're never gonna win a real tournament like that anyway. So you should just start playing a sound style. Copy a top player's style. You know, any top player that you want, whatever style you want, whatever you like, copy a top player. And I guarantee you'll never see a world champion just trying to clear the ball by shooting it at some weird angle, you know, like, I don't know. I can't even do it. I know that some people are a little bit better at it. I can try like something like that, you know, and you put some speed onto it, but it doesn't work at a high level. Trust me. Now, another common mistake that I see is spending too much time on the wrong side of the ball. So if you play poolside from defense, you want to be on this side of the ball almost all the time. You don't want to be here. Okay? Because if you want to go to the poolside, it's gonna be 2 movements, and there's no reason to force yourself to make 2 movements when you could do it in 1 motion from this side of the ball, you know? The reason a lot of people are on this side of the ball is because it's easy to pass from here. That's true. It is easy to pass from there. And also you can do like an angled push side shot from there. Now, that's all true. But as soon as you go on this side of the ball, the opponent knows those are your only options. And if you want to go pull side, it's gonna take two movements. You know, one this way and then the other way. While if you are on this side of the ball, you can pass by going around the ball like this. You can do that pretty fast, you know? You can also shoot an angle push side if you want to do that. Like something like that. It's maybe a little bit awkward, but it's better than spending time on the wrong side of the ball. Now, something that I see a lot of people doing is like, if you want to pass, then you, and you are on the right side of the ball, but then you do like, something like that, you know? Something like, and okay, you may think that this motion looks like I'm going through the middle, right? And then you pass instead. So yeah, there's kind of an idea behind it, but it takes way too much time, you know? As soon as you do like this, the opponent is going to be here, probably, because they know you're out of options. It's going to be a pass, you know? And I see a lot of quite good players here in Aarhus doing that, actually. It's not a good idea. You want to stay on the right side of the ball. Just go around it if you want to pass, you know? You know what I mean? Is it clear? Good. Now also I see sometimes that people are standing like right on top of the ball. Also not a great idea. I mean, you can't go very long in a natural way from that position. You want to be on this side so that you can go to the middle like that, you know? Maybe I should have warmed up first, because everything I try to show you kind of fails, but I hope the point gets across anyway. Yeah. Now, what are some other common mistakes? I think one of the common mistakes is to have some very obvious tell, like on the 3-bar or something. Like for example, some people like to stand like this and go pull side, and then they maybe go push side like this. Those two things don't look like each other, you know? Like, if you can go stand like this and go push side, that's great. That looks like the other one. And if you can stand like this and stop and then go pull side, that's great. That looks like the other way I showed the push before. But if you always go pull side when you're like this, and you always go push side when you're like this, or something like that, it's gonna be too obvious for a good goalkeeper, right? So my general philosophy is whatever shot you have in your repertoire, you want to have a couple of alternatives that looks exactly like it, you know, before the shot. That is very important, you know. I remember when I started playing foosball, I had a shot that looked like this. I forgot how to do that many years ago. It was with a closed hand, and I went like, I went like to the push side and back to the pull side, like this, after going around the ball. And I thought that looked so cool, you know. I was much better at that shot back then, because I had done it right up until I started in a club. And, you know, it was so natural for me, that movement. But the thing is, I had nothing that looked remotely like that in the other side of the goal or in the middle of the goal. You know, whenever I went around the ball like that, you knew it was gonna end up here. And of course, when I went to the club for the first time, you know, I scored a couple of goals like that in the beginning because they had never really seen a shot like that, and then it was over. You know, because I was playing against good players, and every time they saw me go around the ball, they planted both their guys here, and I had no alternative that looked like that. So, yeah, it was over. And I don't even think I had another way of shooting in that side of the goal either. So it was really, it didn't work at all, but I thought it looked very cool. The problem is, no matter how cool it looks, you need a couple of alternatives that look exactly the same way, but are placed in a different spot. So that's a common mistake, to have some tell before a shot where you know where it's going to go, because you never see that same movement and then a shot in the other side or in the middle or whatever. Another common mistake I see is, you know, this brush feint. This, when you go behind the ball and you do like this. I see a lot of people doing that feint very poorly. You know, I'm talking about this one before the pass. I see a lot of people doing that very poorly, and it's like, they don't all do it poorly in the same way. Some people just do it too slowly. Like, that's not a feint that really works. It doesn't look like you're going to pass before the pass actually comes. You know, like this tempo, is not gonna work against top players. You want to make it look like that. You know. You can do more feints like that, but you don't want to do it slowly. You know, you don't want to do this kind of thing. It's not gonna work against top players. Now another poorly made brush feint that I see is like only being on one side of the ball. Like, you know, you see what I did wrong there? Like, if the ball is here and I'm brushing here, at no point can I ever make a wall pass. It's so obvious that it's going to be a lane pass. Like, I can do a lane pass from here, wall pass from here. So I want to switch between those two, you know? I don't want to be like down here or up here. Yeah. You understand? This is the way, okay? And faster, like that. Okay? So, basically, that's kind of how it should look. You can do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 feints in a row, whatever you want. Like, this is without feints. That's just a brush lane. A brush wall without feints is like this. With one feint, that's the lane. One feint, that's the wall. It was poorly executed. I'll try that again. Also poorly executed. Anyway, you get the point, right? 2 feints before the lane. Oops. That's 2 feints before the lane, also poorly executed, but I think you know what I mean, right? That's 2 feints before the wall. You can do 3, 4, 5, however many you want, as long as they are at that speed and you go like behind the ball. You see what I mean? So not like this, that's too slow, and not like this. That's too far away from the ball, and you can only go lane. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another common mistake is a lot of players like to only shoot in the hole, and a lot of other players like to only shoot at a guy when they think it's about to move. You know? You gotta be able to do both. Unless you can shoot the ball like Billy Pappas, then you can just shoot in the hole, because the opponent is not going to make it there in time. But if you're watching this training session, then you probably can't shoot the ball like Billy Pappas. I'm just going to assume that. So you want to be able to shoot in the hole. You also want to be able to shoot at the guy when you think it's about to move. Okay? Otherwise, it's too easy to bait you. You know? If I'm like this and I'm playing against a player who always shoots in the hole, I know it's gonna end up there. You know, and 100% of the time, if you always shoot in the big hole, I'm just gonna find the right time to cover it, right? And if you always shoot at the guy, well, maybe I'll just not move then. Like, are you afraid of shooting in this big hole? I'm not gonna move them. So I try to like figure out what type of player my opponent is. If they like to shoot in the hole, then the bait and switch is very effective. If they like to shoot at the guy, then the statue is very effective. If they can do both, then I have to mix it up and I have to do different things. So it's a lot more difficult playing against someone who can do both. Now, the most common mistake I see in Aarhus, since I've moved to Aarhus, I've noticed. Now, I'm not talking about Martin and Hannibal here; they are top players. But I'm literally talking about everybody else, everyone else. People don't race anything. Like on the 5-bar, you if someone is defending against the opponent's 5-bar, it's like you go into a mind game against everyone. Like, ooh, now I think you're going to go wall. Ooh, now I think you're going to go lane. Yeah, but the pass is so slow. You can just look at the ball and race it, you know? And I see so many people like passing through like something like that. But in the guessing game, in the mind game, the opponent had chosen the wall and really committed to it. So the pass just goes through like this. That can't happen. If you want to win tournaments, you can't let slow shots and slow passes just get past you because you're into some mind game, some guessing game. You play the mind game against top players because you have to. You can't race them. That's the thing. That's the thing that makes them top players. So you have to play mind games against those guys. And you have to play a guessing game. But against people who pass and shoot quite slowly, just race them. Like, come on, everyone in Aarhus, except Martin and Hannibal, they know how to do it. But everyone else, come on, wake up, like, race the slow stuff. It's really important to do, because if you don't race, you can literally lose against anyone. You know, because if you don't set any requirements to how fast a pass or a shot has to be, then anyone can beat you if they win the mind game, if they win the guessing game. They're going to beat you. Well, against me, you have to pass and shoot very fast and without any tells for me to even start thinking about a mind game. You know, I'm not into mind games if I can race people. So your first priority should always be to try and race. And if your opponent proves that they are too fast or too what is it called, fluent to race. If they prove that, okay, then you go into the mind games. But they have to prove first that they are at that level. Okay. Now, what are other common mistakes that I see? Yeah, I see some people like really preferring one side of the goal over the other. That's common. Even the top players, have one side of the goal that they are better at shooting at than the other. But maybe that means like 55-45. You know, I see a lot of players who are like 95-5. You know, and that's too much. You gotta have some balance. You gotta be comfortable shooting the whole goal. You also gotta be comfortable making a wall pass and a lane pass. You can't just live off one and trying to make the other one like 1 out of 100 times. You know, you gotta mix it up a little bit. Another common mistake that I see is just like on the 5-bar, trying to just kind of advance the ball without really making a brush pass or a chip pass or a stick pass, but kind of just like, you know, kind of, I mean, some people can do it a little bit faster, but you know, this kind of, I don't like that. I really don't. I mean, you can win some matches with it. It's okay. You're never going to win a tournament against top players advancing the ball like that. There are basically 3 kinds of passes that you can make. It's brush, chip, or stick. And if it's like somewhere in between and you're not really sure what it is, then it's not going to work against top players. So a brush pass looks like that, and the wall looks like that. A chip pass looks like that, except you catch it like that, and the wall looks like that. A stick pass like that. That's a stick pass, and that's a lane. Not very comfortable on Bonzini, but I'm surprised I hit it so well actually. Then you can do a bounce pass. Oops, needs to be much faster. You catch it, you get the point. If I caught the ball, you know. Or you can do this pass to the middleman. This one. And if you're doing like some other pass that isn't one of those, it's not gonna work. Like sometimes you can take a freebie, like with some pass like that, if you feel the opponent isn't ready for it or something. If you're really good at that pass, that's fine. But just kind of advancing the ball like without setting it up properly in a brush spot or something, it's not going to work against top players. It doesn't have enough speed on it. It doesn't have enough angle on it. So it's going to be too easy to block. So you want to make a brush, a stick, or a chip pass, or something else that is fast, you know, that you've trained and you have a reason for why it works, and you have an alternative that looks exactly like it, and you know, all that stuff. You don't want to just kind of advance the ball like randomly. You know what I mean? That's also a very common mistake. Now, what else do we have? I think those were the most common ones. Oh yeah, there's also wasting your time. Like, I'm gonna use Nikolaj as an example now. Like, he's one of the best players in Aarhus. But But the thing is, and I'm not trying to be mean to anybody here. I'm just saying, like, there are basically like 3 top players in Aarhus. It's Martin and Hannibal and myself, and there's it's quite far to number 4. So even the 4th and 5th and 6th best players in Aarhus have some very bad habits that prevent them from winning, even though they are very talented. Okay, so I'm gonna use Nikolai as an example. I told him this a couple of weeks ago, and then he changed it, and then he beat me in a singles match immediately afterwards. Okay, so these kind of small changes work. He was wasting his time moving the ball around like this on the 5 bar. He was always doing this thing, and then he passed. Okay? Why is that a waste of time? Can anybody tell me?
I mean, you don't really achieve anything, do you? I mean, by just passing it back and forth?
Officially, you have 7 seconds in the middle.
Oh, you have 7 seconds.
Oh, you have 10.
Oh, sorry,
10 seconds.
Yeah,
I didn't
but
know that.
that's not what I'm talking about. It's okay to spend time. I'm talking about not just spending time, but wasting time. The reason you waste time like that is because the ball is in a back pin. You can't pass the ball when it's so far back. So the opponent doesn't have to defend. In all that time you're doing this, the opponent doesn't have to defend until you move the ball forward and you're ready to pass. You know? So you can just... So what I did against Nikolai was I just showed him like some bullshit defense until I could see he was ready to pass, and then, okay, now I'm actually defending, you know? So in all this time, he didn't get any information. So I told him he should do it in a tic-tac instead, because then he can always just pass the ball, you know? Then he's always ready to pass the ball. So I have to defend the whole time. And then he can get some information about how I'm defending, so he can read my defense. If you are spending some time with the ball and you're not getting any information about the opponent's defense, like if you're not forcing them to defend, it's a waste of time, you know? And Nikolai started playing like this that night, and then he beat me in a singles match, you know? So a small change like that can make a world of difference, because I was eating his 5 bar for breakfast, you know, because he was wasting all this time moving the ball around like this, and I could basically have stood like this if I wanted to, and as soon as he moved like that, okay, now I'm ready, you know. And then when he went into a tic-tac, then I had to defend all of the time. And it was much harder for me, and he got a read of my defense, and he had a chance to actually make a sensible decision. Okay? So that's one way of like wasting time. I also see some people being like, something like that, you know? It's okay, the pass is okay, but that entire sequence before it doesn't help you in any way, because you're not ready to pass. You see what I mean? Now, so that was like spending time with the ball without achieving anything, without getting any information about the opponent's defense, because you're not forcing them to defend. Now, the counter mistake for this, the reason that Nikolai has been one of the best players in Aarhus for a long time, even though he was doing this, is that, again, as I said, everybody goes into a mind game. So they are actually defending this whole time. Like, not really looking at what can happen with the ball. So he was moving the ball around like this, and people were showing him an actual defense, and he got to read it, and then he set it up for a pass, and it got through most of the time because people were defending the whole time, you know. But when I came, I just saw you can't pass right now. The ball is in a backpin. I'm not defending yet. Oh, now you can pass. Now I'm defending. So he couldn't read my defense, you know. So that's why it's the same kind of message as that you should race more. You should also like just try to look for weaknesses in your opponent's game, you know, because a lot of the players here in Aarhus are not exploiting each other's weaknesses enough, you know. And it's the same kind of message as this racing thing, you know. We need to set the bar as high as possible if we want to be elite players. So that's why I'm happy I told this thing to Nikolai, and now he switched to a tic-tac, and now I'm actually forced to defend against him all the time. That also makes me a better player, you know, because I'm getting more resistance when I'm playing against him, you know. So stuff like that. The more resistance we give each other, the more we actually help each other become better players. Because all of you guys have just let Nikolai do this thing, and you have defended intensely against it, and he's never realized that when he goes to Copenhagen and plays against the top players, they just exploit it completely, you know. So you want to look for weaknesses, exploit them as much as you can. What else is there? Oh yeah, the other thing is a lot of players have a tendency to either play quite slowly all of the time or play quite quickly all of the time. And you want to be able to do both, you know? Against a player who plays very slowly, when they set up the ball, let's say they don't have it in a front pin yet, they're setting it up. I know I don't have to defend. I don't care, because they're not gonna shoot the ball. I know they play so slowly. Then they set it up, and I still know it's gonna be like at least 3 or 4 seconds before they actually shoot. So I know I can just do some bullshit defense. And then when I feel like they're getting ready, okay, now I'm defending, you know? Against people who always play fast, they make a lot of stupid decisions because they are always playing fast, you know? So you want to be able to do both. If you are setting up the ball and the opponent is not defending, you just shoot it into the goal, you know? Even if you haven't set it up yet, just like shoot it into the goal. If you can see they're not defending, I wish people would do that against me. Sometimes I'm like testing. Are you going to shoot if I just do nothing, you know? And no, you have to spend like 5 seconds. Okay, I mean, that's gonna limit you. You're not gonna take the freebies that you get offered. You wanna take all the free goals that you get offered by just shooting the ball fast, you know? If you don't get offered a free goal, if people are actually defending, then you wanna be able to spend some time. But you don't wanna be the guy who always plays fast or the guy who always plays slowly. You want to be able to do both and see what the moment calls for, you know? Now, another mistake that I see a lot is like, for example, when people are playing against Martin, and Martin is not really playing a serious game because he knows he can win anyway, you know? Something I see a lot of the time is like he has the ball here, you just standing still here, and he kind of angles it in between the guys. You know, that's not such a hard shot to make. If you're just standing still like this, it's not such a hard shot to make, to angle it in between the guys. And like, whenever I see him do that, it's like everyone's reaction is, oh, if you can hit that hole, then there's no way. There's no way I can defend. I mean, that's just unfair. I was ready for you to set the ball up here and go to the push side. I wasn't ready for that. I mean, the ball is here. You gotta be ready for that. I mean, you gotta be ready for the push side shot when the ball is here. You know, it's two different situations. And what I mean by ready, I mean, if you just do this, it's infinitely much harder to hit the ball in between those guys. It's so much harder. Or if you protect the angle with the left back, it's also much harder. If you just stand like this and you stand still and he shoots it in and you're like, oh, there's nothing I can do about that. Oh, come on, man. I mean, that's the reason he's not setting it up for his real push side shot. It's because he doesn't have to. You're not forcing him to make a real shot. You're not setting the standard high enough. You wanna be able to block all that shot, all those shots, so that he actually has to do something real, you know. And okay, I get this. You were surprised by it because you were ready for him to set the ball up here and shoot his push side. Yeah, but you gotta look at what is happening now. Like if the ball is here, you protect the goal. It's as simple as that. And you always want to defend, like whatever situation it is. Even if you think the opponent is not ready to shoot, you always want to defend. And that's why Martin is such a strong player. It's not the only reason, but one of the reasons is if you give him a free goal, he'll shoot fast and he'll score the free goal. If you defend against it, he's not gonna shoot fast. Then he's gonna set it up and take his time, you know? He knows how to mix it up and he knows what the match calls for. So you wanna stay awake so you don't give him any free goals because he's gonna take them. He's gonna take those freebies all day long. Now what else is there? This is mostly for beginners, but also another mistake that I see is like standing like this with your body. I can't pull the two bar all the way out because I'm standing in the way. You know, you want to move a little bit so you can pull it all the way out. That's mostly for beginners, but it's a thing that I see people do. What else is there? Did I forget anything? Common bad habits, common mistakes that people make a lot.
Yeah, it's when you're catching the ball. You should always be here.
Oh yes, very good. That's right. I see that a lot. I see a lot of people like playing 5-bar and I don't even know how to do this, but and that was hard. I've never really tried that, but yeah, I see a lot of that, and it's so chaotic, you know. And then if you want to make a wall pass, it's like, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can make it work. But why do you want to make it so chaotic for yourself? Like, if you're always here, then you're always ready to receive a wall pass, no matter what speed it's at. And then you can train an exact movement to catch the lane pass, you know? You can train exactly how to move this guy to catch the lane pass. If you're kind of just moving around, again, there's a limit to how fast you can pass and make it work, because it's not going to be an exact movement that you have trained before, you know? So yeah, very good point. And of course, if you play at the far wall, you want to have it over there, you know? You want to have the guy at the bank over there. So yes, very good point. What else did I forget? Oh yeah, when shooting from defense, I see a lot of people who have like one shot and one pass. It's never going to be enough. You know, like you cover the shot with the free bar, you cover the pass with the five bar. You just stand still. I mean, it's not enough. You need more options. You need more shots, more lengths, more angles. Preferably also more passes. And you want to have them all look like each other. So one thing that I see is like, let's say I have the ball here, and I can only shoot the pull side at one length. So I'm going to hit this guy like that. Let's say that's the case, right? So how do I fix it? Do I shoot longer or shorter? No, I just go out here and then I shoot the same length. I mean, then they're just gonna go in there and they're still going to block it. If you always shoot it at the same length, you know, it's too easy, it's too obvious. Sorry. You want to be able to shoot at different lengths and different angles. And not just move the ball to some other place and still shoot the same length as you usually do. Another common mistake I see is people who shoot from defense without having a Hoover shot. That wasn't a good one. That one. If you don't have that shot, it's not gonna work. Like one thing that I see a lot is people who always go pull side. Or maybe they also have a pass. Or maybe they have some angle push side. But if you don't have this, it's not gonna work. I guarantee it. You'll never win a tournament against top players without having a shot like that. Of course you need to be able. Of course you need to be able to go to the pull side. Of course you gotta be able to do that. But you also gotta have the Hoover shot. You gotta be able to just shoot the ball from where you at. And that's also true when you play from here. You wanna be able to do this Hoover shot. I don't really know how to play from here. I can try again. I didn't hit it, but you know what I mean, right? So I'm standing on the ball, on my usual side of the ball, and I just go off the ball and I shoot it. It's a very simple shot to make, you know? And I do that fast, like that. And then I hit the goal and I warm up before doing foosball lessons, because then I can hit the goal. But you get the point, right? That's a Hoover shot, and you can't survive without it. It's not possible. It's essential for survival in the modern world to have a Hoover shot when you shoot from defense. And of course, if you play from here, you also want like at least 3 push side angles and push side lengths. At least 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. If you play from here, you want at least 3 pull side lengths and angles. Maybe 4, maybe 5. And you don't want to have to move the ball to some other spot to be able to do it. You want to be able to do them all from the same spot. And you don't want to have to switch to the other side of the ball to do one of them. You want to do them all from the right side of the ball. Okay? So, what else is there? Yeah, like sort of making sounds during the game. I mean, it's okay in a fun game. If you're not playing in a tournament, it's okay. But if you want to get ready for a tournament, it's gonna be quite hard to suddenly be in an environment where you can't make a sound while you play. You know, because
Is it illegal?
Yeah,
It's actually illegal.
yeah,
Say anything.
yeah. That's a foul.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you want to train for a tournament, you gotta get rid of that habit.
What if you say?
After scoring.
Well, after scoring.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
While the ball is in play, you gotta be quiet. You know? And even top players make this mistake, like they misexecute something and then they stamp the floor or something. And the opponent calls a foul. And it's like,
Sometimes you disturb your own teammate. It could happen.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
You can't even say,
that's
like,
a bad habit,
You
I
can't even
think.
do any compliment like, wow, beautiful.
While the ball is in play?
Yeah.
No,
Nothing.
nothing.
Wow, I didn't know
You
that.
can, if you have the ball, you can say something quietly to your partner, but it has to be so quiet that the opponent can't hear it, you know? And then you have to wait a little bit before you shoot or pass the ball, you know? But you can be like, okay, I have the ball now,
Okay,
and
okay.
now I shoot.
That's not a foul.
No, that's okay. If they don't hear what you say, and you wait a little bit before you shoot, or before you pass, or whatever you do, then
You
you can
can't
do it.
whisper and then shoot while you're whispering
No.
to distract.
No, absolutely not. The distraction rules are very tight in foosball. You know, we are pussies. I don't know what we would do in a football stadium if we were playing there. I mean, we can't. I mean, even tennis. The audience has to be quiet and everything, but the players go like, oh, and you can't do that in foosball. It's like it can't make any sounds, you know. If you want to be ready for the next tournament, just try to play some training matches without making any sounds. Don't say no when the opponent gets through your 5-bar, whatever it is. Don't stomp the floor. Don't be like, or, you know, something like that. Whatever it is, whatever sound you're doing. Just try not to. Yeah. Did I forget something? I probably did, but I think those were the most common bad habits for foosball players.
Maybe something with the defender crossing the goal.
Yeah, there's a few things there. So sometimes I see people going outside the goal frame like this. Like here, you're not protecting anything. I see it happening a lot with this guy. Then they, you see, like half the time I'm like outside the goal frame. I see that a lot. That's not good. You want to keep both you guys inside the goal. And I even see some very good players do that sometimes. It's a bad mistake to make, I think. Don't do that. Stay inside the goal with both guys when you are defending. Except when you switch backs. You know? When you switch to the other back, of course there's a split second where you're outside the goal. But if you're not switching backs, if you're not switching the defender, just doing like this and going outside of the goal is... it's so bad. It's really bad. You're not covering anything and the goal is wide open. Even if even like here, yeah, they shoot at the post and you're not going to take it from there. You're outside of the frame. You want to get in here. You know, at least in here. That's the furthest out you can ever be. You know what I mean? It's like that's even too far. Like this is the furthest you should ever get. You should not go any further to the side than that. Another thing, yeah, crossing over. You mean like this? Yeah. So I wouldn't say that's a bad habit. It's bad if you don't know that there's a hole here. You know, like you're not protecting this side of the goal, but you can use it like if you think they're gonna make like an angle shot, you can block it like that, something like that. Or if you want to bait them, so what I did there, like you show them this, they know that there's a hole here, and then you close it. You know, you can bait people like that. Something like that. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily a mistake if you know what you're doing.
Jeg er til mit defense.
Anything else?
Det er til begge min defense.
Any questions? Was it all clear? Great. I'm happy about that. Thanks for coming, and thanks for watching on YouTube. Now like and subscribe and share and comment and smash that subscribe button.